Welcome to John S. Sports Channel, where we're going game week 3 of the Championship, going straight into the predictions. It's going to be as quick as I can for you. I know you like a little bit of speed. Derby County versus Bristol City on Friday night, and Derby's done some really good work in the summer. Bristol City also does some good work, but I think Bristol City's not quite as good as some of those players that Derby County brought in. They're absolutely amazing. Derby County start here. What have we got? Where did they start? Derby County started at Stoke City, 3-1 defeat. That was a shock for me. I thought that they'd really come out of the blocks on all fours, because they were really. I loved the signings. I really did. In that game, that Stoke City team just came back, didn't they, and overturned a 1-0 lead in the 70th minute, equalising, and then 90 plus 5 and 90 plus 9. You know, they just stole it at the last minute. And really, I suppose they deserved it. Derby had only got 32% possession and only had 2 shots on target in the entire game, just got one in the net. So technically, it was a deserved win by Stoke, even if it was a late one. West Brom away draw in the cup, and then a 3-5 defeat at home to Coventry. And you have to look at the stats. So you really do have to look at the stats, because it does show you the game quite well. Derby County, 48% possession, but 13 shots, pretty good. 4 on target, 3 in the net. You know, very, very clinical. But they let Coventry have 20 shots, 10 of them on target, 4 of them blocked. You know, that defence was not good. That defence was just allowing Coventry to just walk through it, while at the other end they were being really clinical. So it was a game of two halves, literally. It really was. Bristol City, however, they started with a 4-1 win away at Sheffield United, followed by a 2-0 win at home to MK Dons, and they were really thinking, hey, this is going to be our season, isn't it? And now to Charlton, thinking, you know, just come up from League One, surely we'll have a good chance of beating these. Bristol City 0, Charlton 0, and Bristol City actually had for 58% possession, 14 shots, 1 on target, and that clinical side just disappeared. And a lot of people are saying, you don't know which team's going to turn up. And we used to say this in years gone by, which Bristol City team will turn up. And unfortunately, that's what we've got here. Which team will turn up indeed? What are you saying? Remember, it's Derby, Bristol City, 2-3, 1-2, 1-2. 2-2, 2-0. You can see here what people are thinking. They're certainly looking back at those results and saying, when Bristol City don't play well and that attacking force don't turn up, they got a really good 0-0 draw. They could have got a win had their front ends been a little bit more active. I just think that perhaps that defence is just tweaking up a little bit at Bristol City, but that Derby County side is really, really strong. It's a game of tossing up the coin here. You're saying 2-3, 1-2, 1-2, 1-1, 2-2, 2-0. I'm going to go Derby County 1, Bristol City 1, and we'll move on to the Saturday games. First of the Saturday games, Charlton versus Leicester, and of course Charlton started against that team, Bristol City. They've just done Charlton versus Bristol City, haven't they? Sorry. And of course, their last time out, 0-0. That's the game where I said Bristol City just didn't turn up. And also, all those shots that they've been peeling off in the games before didn't happen. So Charlton managed to get that 0-0 draw. They were probably trying to bolster up the defence to try and make sure that they didn't get as many shots. Charlton thinking, they're really clinical at home, and they've been. I think when they started, which was at home, wasn't it, against Watford, 1-0 win at home. The crowd were great, and I think that they were pretty good for their value at home against Watford. 90 plus 4 minute winner, but realistically, 5 shots on target to Charlton, 1 for Watford. They really did, for me, just about deserve that win. I think it was a game of sections. Some sections Charlton were in the lead, some sections Watford were playing better. But I think on the whole, taking the whole game, it was probably the right result. Stevenage 3-1 win at home in the Cup, and then that Bristol City game last time out. The last game for Leicester City, of course, was that Preston 2-1 defeat. I predicted a 1-0 win to Preston. It was a 2-1 win for Preston, and like I said to some of the Preston supporters, I think you've all got it wrong. I think that you're going to win this one. You did. What have Leicester City done then? Up to that, they won Sheffield Wednesday 2-1, but I think that one they really did. They were pounding the net in the last 30-40 minutes. They just couldn't get anything past that goalkeeper. A very good goalkeeping prowess, I must admit, but Leicester really lacked that finishing quality, as they did in the 2-2 away draw at Huddersfield, obviously going out on penalties there. And then, of course, that Preston game, which, Preston 2, Leicester City 1. And actually, I think that just showed that Preston could indeed do their utmost to put the to stop that front end of Leicester getting anywhere near the goal. I think that it's going to be a rather tight game, this one. I think Leicester versus Charlton is a very, very difficult. Charlton is a very difficult place to go at the best of times. They can play some really good football at home. They've proven that they can do it in this league. Can they continue it against a Leicester side that's just not very clinical for me at the minute and hasn't got that finishing edge yet? I think they will. I just don't think they've got it yet. I don't think it's going to be a very high scoring game. What do you think? Well, you've got 1-0, 1-1, 1-0, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. In that case, I'm just going to follow you. I think you're probably about right anyway. I'm going to go with Charlton 1, Leicester 1. And then we move on to Hull City versus Blackburn. And Hull City are doing a hell of a lot better than what we thought, didn't we? When the embargo went on, we're thinking, oh dear, this is it. But they have actually made a couple of good summer signings, which is interesting because obviously they have to ask to be able to sign them, get approval, and then sign them. It is a lot more convoluted, but they have done it. Hull City, then they started with Coventry City. Now Coventry, have and still are up to the present, the last game, extremely good. 0-0 away from home at Coventry. That was actually really good, and people started thinking this Hull City side's done rather well. Then they drew in the Carabao Cup against Wrexham, losing on penalties. And here, 3-3. You have to look at the stats, though, because Hull City got 62% possession. They got a couple of less shots at 14, 6 of them on target, 3 in the net. But both teams got 6 on target. Both teams got 3 in the net. Very good ratio. Both of these teams extremely good up front. Both of them just a little bit lacking in at the back end. And we have to think about that, because I think that that seems to be something that Hull City has crept into Hull City's game. It wasn't in the Coventry game, and then they went at home to Oxford, 3-2 winners. And again, Hull City, you have to look. They nicked the game in 90 plus 3 minutes. And with 75% possession, 19 shots, 7 on target, 3 in the net. Great. Up front, they can be and have been really good. But 2 goals let in, 6 shots they allowed them to have on target, Oxford, and 2 of them they got in the net. So you have to be a little bit concerned with that back line of Hull City's. They're playing a Blackburn side, though, who lost all three. Lost all three. We've got a defeat away at West Brom. We have a Bradford City Carabao Cup 2-1 defeat at home, but they've been playing really well. And Birmingham 2-1 defeat at home, and again they've paid to be up at the top. They are playing extremely well. So have Blackburn played the wrong teams at the wrong time? Absolutely. I think that has to be thought of as a definite maybe. Birmingham here at Blackburn they allowed them to get 59% possession, but only 4 shots on target. So the back line did seem at Birmingham to be against Birmingham to be a little bit better in this game. The shots for the home team, Blackburn, 2 shots on target, only 5 at target, 1 on the net though, 1 out of 2. They lost 2-1. I actually thought that their defensive abilities, Blackburn, against the Birmingham side, were actually slightly improved. So I am seeing some signs of improvement in the Blackburn side. Has it come early enough? Has it come early enough for a change against Hull City, who are playing out of their skin at the minute? What are you saying? 2-3, 1-2, 2-1, 1-1, 2-1 and 1-2. Thank you. You're really not helping me whatsoever, you lot, are you? Please do like and subscribe. Give me your comments. Give me your scores for next week if you like. We'll be taking those into account. Because I'm going to go with Hull City 2, Blackburn 1 and move to the next game. Swansea City, Watford. Now, Swansea City at home. Swansea City in total they have been renowned for being able to score ad hoc quite often. So your 2s and 3s from this side isn't incredibly impossible. They've not been doing it in the league. Obviously, a 1-0 the first game, 1-0 defeat to a very good Borough side away from home. 3-1 at home win to Crawley, that is Crawley, and then a Sheffield United win at home 1-0. And of course Swansea City, I'm looking at this side thinking, I know this side can score more than just 1 goal, so why is it that they're not doing it? Well, Swansea City at home there against Sheffield United, 13 shots out of their 56% possession, 4 of them on target. Yeah, okay, 1 in the net. That's a pretty good mid-table average. And I suppose realistically that's probably where they're looking. But you have to look at the defence. They reduced Sheffield United to 0. Yes, 0 shots on target. And you have to have a quick check then. When you sort of see that, you think, okay, what happened away at Borough, where they lost 1-0? So Borough 1, Swansea 0. Just have a quick check at that. Because Borough, 54% possession yet, but they reduced them to only getting 6 shots at target, 3 of them on target, 1 in the net. Swansea only had 1 shot on target, and obviously it didn't go in the net. That was a 1-0 defeat there. But actually, that defence was still showing pretty good in that first game. Against a Watford side, opening defeat against Charlton Athletic, 1-0 away, and then a home defeat 2-1 in the Cup to Norwich City, and then the QPR home win for Watford. Just looking at the loser red card there, so that's going to be an issue. I don't think it'll make too much of a change to the Swansea game, but let's just continue and see. In that game then, Watford QPR, Watford 46% possession, 17 shots, 4 on target, 2 in the net, pretty decent, but they allowed QPR to have 54% possession, 13 shots, 3 on target. Yeah. But QPR didn't really get the right mould of players. They didn't seem to be although they had 461 passes, they just didn't seem to be doing anything with the passes, and there were a lot of good players on the bench that either came on late or didn't get on the pitch. They don't seem to have chosen the right squad yet at QPR. I think Watford managed to just make the most of the indecisiveness. So it's going to be a very difficult game. I think that on par, we would expect Swansea to be able to score more. They haven't shown that yet. I think that they will eventually. I don't think they'll do it quite yet. This Watford side is going to be difficult to break down. I think that they certainly will be trying to improve. We've got Swansea lose, win, win. Watford lose, lose, win. You're saying 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0 and 2-2. I'm going to probably go with one of your scores again. I'm going to go with Swansea 1, Watford 0. And we'll move on to the next one. Please do like and subscribe. Give me your comments down below. Give me next week's comments as well. Birmingham Oxford next, and the return of Gary Rowett to Birmingham. St Andrews return there. Birmingham, obviously, that opening game 1-1. I mean, what was it? When did they get that penalty? 90 plus 5 minutes equaliser by Ipswich. Absolutely did not deserve that in my eyes anyway. Birmingham have been consistently in control of the game. The game's next game, Birmingham 2, Sheffield United 1 in the cup. And once again, 20 shots to Birmingham. Only one shot on target this time to Sheffield United, 5 on target to Birmingham. And they're running the roost here so far. And against Blackburn, Birmingham, it was Blackburn 1, Birmingham 2. And again, Birmingham slightly reduced here. The Blackburn defence, like I said, they do seem to have tightened it up in the last game. 59% possession to Birmingham, but they only managed to get 8 shots and 4 of them on target, 2 in the net. So very clinical indeed. And they were last season as well in League One. I think this side is going to be able to do very well. However, the Oxford side, 1-0 home defeat to Portsmouth, a Colchester 1-0 win at home, and we're not seeing a side that's going to do much damage in the Championship so far. And then we get the Hull City away defeat 3-2, but Hull City have been playing really well, and they're remarkably an awful lot better than what we thought they would be. So an Oxford side just managed to get 25% possession, 11 shots, 6 on target. Now for 25%, that possession, that Hull City allowed them 11 shots. So the Hull City defence has been a little bit creaky, even though their front end has been really good. I think that Oxford made the most of that with those 2 goals. Can they make the most of any errors by Birmingham? There hasn't been many, I'm afraid. I can only see this going one way. Let's see what you're saying. 3-0 to Birmingham, 2-2, 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, 1-0. I think that Gary Rowett will insist he's going to make sure they get at least 1 goal. Don't be surprised if they don't try and get it in the first minute and then try and sit back and park the bus. I'm going to go with Birmingham 2, Oxford 1, possibly with a first minute goal from Oxford United. I will move to Coventry versus QPR. So what do we expect from a Coventry QPR game? Coventry, of course, last time out we have to say that Derby County away 3-5 win. But they started 0-0 with Hull City, and this Coventry side just seemed to get knocked back by a side that they expected not to be playing very well. And I think, to be quite honest, they turned up thinking that this was going to be a whitewash, and that was the problem here. They just thought it was going to be easy. Hull City making it quite clear that they weren't even going to let them get anywhere near that final third. 7 shots from their 42% possession, 3 on target for Hull City, none in the net, 0-0. I think that was the main problem there. Coventry then went to Luton at home, winning 1-0. Look, that stadium can be raucous at the best of times, can't it? Well, at the worst of times, even 54% possession, 12 shots, 3 on target, sort of average for a top half championship side, I suppose. But with 46% possession, that Luton Town side managed to get 13 shots. So, and you got to remember they're now in League One. So, although they did only get 1 shot on target, so they're just holding off teams, but they're not well enough for me. And then, of course, the 3-5 defeat to Derby County, where they were on fire at the front. But again, the back end just seemed to be a little bit poor. They're playing a QPR team that don't seem to be, from QPR's fans' perspective, I'm hearing a lot about. There were a lot of good players on the bench. There were a lot of good players that stayed on the bench. And, there's not the best side on the pitch, and they don't seem to be gelling quite as much as they wanted them to do. QPR started with a 1-1. Did a 1-1 draw at home to Preston. Plymouth 3-2 away defeat, and Plymouth, I think that's their only win so far this season. Watford then away, and they lost 2-1. This QPR side doesn't seem to be very good. It seems to be quite poor, in fact. The Watford game, for instance, 90 plus 3 minute red card for Watford, and they won the game 2-1. You can see how it did look like it was getting a little bit tough near the end. Watford trying to stamp their foot down, literally, to try and make sure they kept the win. After QPR got that the third goal of the match at 45 plus 4 minutes. Stats for that game: Watford versus QPR. QPR 54% possession, 13 shots, 3 on target, 1 in the net. Yeah, pretty good. But that defence, they allowed Watford 17 shots at goal. You can't be doing that in certainly in the top 2/3 of the championship. You'll get punished. And they have been, draw, lose for QPR, draw, win for Coventry. Coventry have got the benefit here, and I'm not seeing anybody go for anything other than a Coventry win. 3-1, 2-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-2, 3-1. I'm going to go with Coventry 3, QPR 1, and we'll go to the next game. So after the Coventry game, we got Norwich versus Borough. Now Norwich, I saw this team for me when we started this season. I'm thinking they're going to be sort of mid-third, but probably at the bottom of that mid-third. They're in 11th. They're probably where I'd expect them to be against a Borough side who I think will probably be in that top 6 again. And they are. They're second, although it is only 2 games. You can't really say much about that, can we? Not at this point in the season. Norwich City opened the season with a Millwall defeat at home, 2-1, and then they went away to Watford, 2-1 winners there in the cup, and then it was a Portsmouth win last time out, 2-1 away at Portsmouth. But if you look and you listen to the crowd around here, because that's where I'm sort of based, not far from Portsmouth, 58% possession to Portsmouth, 19 shots, only 3 on target, 1 in the net. Norwich City pretty much out of it. I really didn't see much of that game where I thought Norwich were particularly ahead of it. I mean, they were for the first 5-10 minutes, which is surprisingly where they scored 6 minutes and 14. But after that, it was all Portsmouth. And they only got 5 shots on target, Norwich. 42% possession, 2 goals. You have to start thinking that wasn't a great Norwich performance. And then you have to look at the Borough side. Why are they doing so well? Well, they have been doing well in the first game. Swansea City, they won 1-0 at home. A solid performance, getting out of it what they needed to get out of it. Then the Doncaster game. Please do like and subscribe. Tell me what happened. It was a home defeat to Doncaster in the Cup. Borough 0, Doncaster 4. Yeah, 4. And then they sort of turned it round in the Millwall game, and it was Millwall 0, Borough 3. And you're thinking, okay, what team did they put out? And what remit was it? Was it a different style or something? I don't know. But certainly if you look at the stats that Borough got in the Millwall game, 55% possession, 410 passes. Both these teams were passing really well. Both of them had the ability to keep the ball, but when they lost it, they didn't seem to be able to get it back. On the whole, Borough got it back more often than not. 55% possession, 12 shots, 5 on target, reducing Millwall to just 1 shot on target out of their 11. So they were certainly pushing them back just enough for them not to be able to get a clear view of the goal. So it was a very good technical performance there. However, people are looking at that the stats for the Doncaster game. 62% possession, 18 shots for both teams. And 5 shots on target for both teams. 5 shots on target for Borough, no goals. 5 shots on target for Doncaster, 4 goals. But look at the passes. Borough, 614 against Doncaster, 373. When Doncaster had it, let's get into the other end. Let's have a shot. Fear no evil. And that's what's worrying people here. People are looking at the Norwich side and thinking, they've won the last 2, Watford and Portsmouth. Are they improving? Are they going? I think they're improving. I think they're going to continue to improve and go back up where they need to be. For me, though, that Portsmouth game, they weren't really in it for 80 minutes of that game. I can't really see a distinct improvement. What are you saying? 1-3, 2-2, 2-2, 2-1. 2-1, 1-1. I'm going to make my own up. I'm going to go against everybody here, and I'm going to go Norwich 1, Borough 2. I didn't actually like that performance at Portsmouth. I thought that was quite ragged. And then we'll go on to what I think is going to be a very tight and possibly very ugly game, which is going to be Preston North End versus Ipswich. Like I said, last time out, Preston North End 2, Leicester 1. And I actually predicted a Preston North End win 1-0. And a couple of the Preston fans said, "Yeah, no, I don't know if you got it right." One of them said 1-0, I think, and one said 1-1. And I said, "You'll be surprised." I think that I agree, 1-0 to Preston, Yeah, I can see what good they've done. It's about 15 players in, 10, 15 players in. It's a lot of players in, and they're all good ones. And they have picked the exact skill and position they need for each player. They've done it very well, very meticulously. They've planned this. I've not always been I've not been a Preston North End fan for some years. Their style and their way of play just hasn't suited me. But this team is good. This team I enjoy watching. QPR 1-1 away. Barrow Town 1-0 away win. And then a Leicester City 2-1 home win. And I think this side is absolutely capable of winning at home to an Ipswich side that drew, luckily, in the 95th minute of 90 minutes against Birmingham 1-1 away, and then Bromley 1-1 away in the Carabao Cup, with Bromley going through 5-4 on penalties, and then Southampton 1-1 last time out at home, and they didn't even score their goal. Harwood Bellis scored its own goal for Ipswich, with Southampton scoring it. So Ipswich not really doing it for me yet. I think they will do it eventually. 50% possession each, 14 shots to Ipswich, 11 to Southampton. Yeah, but Ipswich were at home. You'd expect them to get more. 1 shot on target in the entire game for Ipswich. I don't think that bodes well against this Preston North End side. What are you saying? 2-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 0-1. I'm actually going to repeat the same score prediction as last week. I'm going to go Preston North End 1, Ipswich Town 0. So let's go quickly on to Sheffield United versus Millwall, shall we? And Sheffield United not having it all their own way is put mildly, isn't it? Sheffield United, Bristol City home defeat 1-4. Birmingham away defeat away in the Carabao Cup 2-1 to Birmingham. And then last time out, Swansea City, Swansea 1, Sheffield United 0. Not only that, but in the Swansea game, Sheffield United actually got 0 shots on target. They got 44% possession, 0 shots on target. In the Birmingham game, Sheffield United, again, 1 shot on target in the entire game. Bristol City, so the very first game, we go back to that one. They got 6 shots on target. So in the last 2 games, they've got 1 shot on target. This side is just. I thought the Bristol City one, although they lost 4-1, they actually played better football in that than they have in the Birmingham and Swansea game. Really weird. Millwall, completely different. Win, lose as a side. Lose for Sheffield United. They won the first game 2-1 away at probably a lacklustre Norwich side. 1-0 win away to Newport County. Carabao Cup, we'll not bother about that. Millwall 0, Borough 3. And in the second half, this side, the Millwall side just reneged and let Borough in. 45% possession to Millwall at home. I would have expected more. They usually insist on possession at home. They didn't here. 11 shots, only 1 on target. That Borough side is cracking in defence, isn't it? But this Sheffield United side are not like Borough. Their defence can be a little bit ropey. And their attack is at the minute non-existent. There's been a couple of signings recently. Perhaps they'll get up and going for Sheffield United. Will it be straight away? I really don't know. What are you saying? I'll be guided by you lot. Let's say that 0-1, 2-0, 0-1, 1-2, 1-0, 0-1. Great. So on the whole, you're thinking either Sheffield United will just nick this one 1-0. And I can see that being one of the cases. Sheffield United, if they win it, will be by 1 goal. Absolutely. It has to be, doesn't it? So it either has to be the 1-0 Sheffield United win, or if it isn't, then 2-2-1 defeats. That one's in May. Forget that one. 4-1, 2-1, 1-0. I don't know. Millwall, if they were to win, see they can win 2-1 and a 1-0 win so far. I just don't. I haven't seen the Millwall team being that good. They've been good enough to get the points, good enough to get 1 goal more than the opposition. And that's it, apart from the last game where they lost 3-0. I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0. It's going to be 1-0 either way. I really cannot. I don't think it's going to be a draw. I really don't think it's going to be a draw. I'm with you lot. I think it's going to be 1-0 either way. So which way am I going to go? I'm going to go with Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1. And I don't know why. I really don't. It's not because I'm from Rotherham. It could go literally either way, this one. Southampton versus Stoke next. And Southampton, for me, again, another one of these sides that have come down that should be doing better, but they just, to me, they're nicking it at the last minute and not showing that they're not showing me that they're really, really good. Southampton won Wrexham 2-1. They were hammering that goal for the last 40 minutes, weren't they? 1-0 in the lead, Wrexham. 90 minutes, Southampton equalised. 90 plus 6, they got the winner. They always look like they get the winner, but they just didn't do much with that possession they got. Like I say, 75% possession, 27 shots, 10 of them on target, 2 in the net. But they seem to be shooting and they go like miles away, or it'd be shot from such a distance that it was on target but it was blocked, or it'd be saved by that brilliant goalkeeper they've got. So they went 2-1 at home win at Wrexham, 1-0 away win at Northampton. I would have expected more from that, actually, because Northampton aren't playing very well, even at League One standard. Ipswich last time out away 1-1 draw, and they scored both goals, Southampton, so well done. 50% possession each. Southampton 11 shots, 3 on target. They did reduce Ipswich to 1 shot, and that went in the net. So I'm sort of thinking, well, it wasn't that one didn't go in the net. One of their own shots went in the net. I think Southampton are doing really well defensively. I'll say that. I think their defence is really good. I think that attack really does need to be getting more of those shots in the back of the net. Was it 20 odd shots there? And just it doesn't make sense, does it? 2 goals out of 20 odd shots. They're playing a Stoke side who have been playing quite well, actually, considering we thought they'd be down in the bottom 6, didn't we? Most people did. Derby County home win 3-1, Walsall 0-0 home draw, and let's see what it was. A Stoke went through on penalties there, and then Sheffield Wednesday they beat them 3-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. So Sheffield Wednesday 0, Stoke 3, scored in 1 minute, and then I think that was basically it. Coffin nailed shut. 46% possession, 12 shots, 6 on target, 3 in the net. Good finishing, 6 on target, 3 in the net. That was the difference between these two sides, because Sheffield Wednesday got 15 shots, 5 on target, just got none in the net. At the end of the day, this was about a war of attrition. Who's going to get that shot on target and in the net? I think it just turned on that first goal, and the hearts just dropped a little bit too quick. But they didn't drop too far. That Wednesday side were actually still in the game. They just didn't have that the finishing class at the end, even though they had the actual shots on target. So it's going to be a difficult one, this one. Southampton, I think, surely have the edge over this Stoke side. However, the Stoke side, I'd say the Stoke side are playing pretty good mid-table football, which isn't what we expected. We expect them to play a fair bit poorer than what they have done. So, albeit on the fans, they're being given a decent game of football, which all the other fans were not expecting. What are you thinking? 2-2, 2-1, 2-1, 3-1, 1-2, and 2-2. I can see this being a tough game. I'm just a little bit worried about the inability to get the ball in the net from all these shots for Southampton. I'm going to go Southampton 2, Stoke 2. And we'll go to West Brom versus Portsmouth. Now, West Brom have so far started with Blackburn, 1-0 win at home. Derby County, 1-1 draw in the Cup at home. And then away, 3-2 win away to Wrexham. Just look at this one because I think the stats are important here. Obviously, not always, but it's 49% possession to West Brom, so call it 50-50. 15 shots to Wrexham, 17 to West Brom, 3 shots on target to Wrexham, 5 to West Brom. And it's sort of the goals were sort of about the same. Wrexham 2, West Brom 3. So it's pretty much as the game was. It was a 2-3 game. I don't think either side would be worried about their attacking performance. I think that it was a good attacking performance from both sides. I think that both sides would have been a little bit worried at the amount of that conversion rate at the back end for the opposition, because obviously West Brom let Wrexham shoot 3 times and get it in the net twice, and similarly 5 shots for West Brom and 3 in the net for Wrexham. So again, we have to look at the defensive side here and think that I think West Brom's defence is just not quite as good as what we would expect. However, the Blackburn game, Blackburn playing pretty good football, I think, overall. They only got 1 shot on target, but then they got 9 shots at target. Well, that's not a lot. Blackburn had 56% possession. So in that game, the West Brom defence was actually really good. So which team is gonna come out on top? That's the big question here. Against a Portsmouth side that did well against Oxford, they opened the game this season with a 1-0 away win. They lost at home to Reading 2-1 in the Cup, and then they lost the game at home to Norwich 2-1. But they absolutely ran that game after the first 10 minutes. Just couldn't get it in the net. Portsmouth here. 58% possession, 19 shots, only 3 on target, and 1 in the net, and that's what they've been saying here. How on earth can you have 19 shots and sky most of them with 9 of them clearly off target, 7 of them blocked? You're just letting loose and hoping that nobody's in the way. 7 blocked and 3 on target for Portsmouth, and they've been saying locally they've got to do better than that, and they can do better than that. But obviously 2-1 defeat at home last time out to Norwich City. They will want to do better here at the Hawthorns. What are you all saying? 2-0, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-1. I'm going to go West Brom 1, Portsmouth 1. I don't think they're going to lose it. I think that defence was really good, and it just scuppered it in the first 10 minutes. If they can hold off for the first 10 minutes, I think they'll slowly get into this game. But they are at the minute taking the time to get into a game. And we'll finish with Wrexham versus Sheffield Wednesday. Now, obviously, Wrexham, last time out, lost in that game 2-3 at home to West Brom. In the first game, 2-1 away defeat to Southampton, but they were quite well beaten. That's the game, I think, isn't it, where Southampton shot 27 times. Wrexham got 2 shots on target. They were just always at the back, weren't they? They got that goal, and let's just keep at the back as long as we can. Hull City 3-3 draw for Wrexham at home, and then that defeat West Brom at home 2-3. Wrexham have got a good side. They've been looking a little bit unfortunate. They have actually been playing some good football, and they're playing Sheffield Wednesday, who, I think that was a little bit difficult. Once Barry Bannon got sent off, the game was already lost 2-1. Leicester City 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Didn't make any difference to me. 75% possession to Leicester City, 27 shots, 13 of them on target, only 2 in the net. They will have been thinking, why did we get more in the back of the net? It was a ridiculous conversion. Wednesday, 3 shots on target in the entire game. Then they turned it around for the Bolton game. Leicester 3-3 away draw. And yeah, they managed to get through on penalties. Stoke City then 3-0 defeat at home for the last game for Sheffield Wednesday. And it was really all over in the sort of as soon as they came out from the second half, 46 minutes when Mumba scored that second goal. I think it was obvious what was going to happen. Although some people were saying it was over well before half time. 54% possession to Sheffield Wednesday, 15 shots, 5 on target, none in the net. Again, and that's I say again because there's a couple of games here. 2 of their last 3 where they've actually been shooting quite well. They've been getting in there. They've been having shots. They just haven't converted the damn things. And that seems to be the problem with the Wednesday side. Against a Stoke City side that had 46% possession, 12 shots, 6 on target, 3 in the net. So that's where that game fell down for Sheffield Wednesday. And I think it also shows. I think it was that there's. It just shows what this Sheffield Wednesday side have been doing for me. Trying to look at the stats for the Bolton game. 47% possession, 8 shots, 4 of them on target. 8 shots, I suppose it's okay for 47%, but it's a little bit low. So they should be capable, this side, even this side, of getting more shots, full stop. 8 and 4 is actually a good percentage. But for me, they're just not shooting enough. They're not getting in those positions. They're not getting the feed through that they need from midfield. They are looking at getting midfield improvements in there, and I think they will over the next couple. I think they got a Man United. Is it them? They got a Man United player recently on loan. Perhaps he'll do a good job. Or they were looking at getting one from Man U. Let's see if they do. Let's see if it works for Wednesday. It's going to be a tough game, this one. I think Wrexham, for me, have by far the better team. Wrexham 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 5-0, 2-1, 1-0. I think the 5-0's just blasing it a bit, isn't it? I don't think it's going to be that bad. I can see Sheffield Wednesday scoring, actually. I think it's going to be... I'll plump for Wrexham 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Please do like and subscribe. It does keep the channel going. And if you like it, give me a comment. If you think that I've got the score wrong, don't dislike me, please. Just give me a comment and tell me what you think, and we'll have a quick chat in the comment box. I don't mind at all. John Esser Sports Channel over and out for another Championship prediction video. Please do like and subscribe.